I knew everybody on the street. I knew all the firemen, I knew all the policemen, and the people were friendly. It was a great place to live, and it still is.
Jim Pettyjohn's lessons on the history of Wichita Falls began early on in his life while growing up downtown. In fact, much of what he knows he experienced firsthand.
It looks just like it did back in the heyday. This was Auto Spring and Supply. You asked me about horseshoes. There was right across the street over here with the Lukey Plow Company, worked on horses, horseshoes, and invented plows.
And right here sat the People's Ice House, which bought the property on April 7th, 1919.
This is the warranty deed from J.S. Bridwell to the People's Ice House. $8,500 paid and secured to
Gail Smith's the executive director of Backdoor Theater, who's also a self-described absolute history buff, especially when it comes to this building.
The building was built in the late teens, the People's Ice House, and in the 20s there was a flood in this area, so they raised the street level of this whole area. So actually inside you can see where the original street level was, which is another good 4 or 5 feet lower than the street level it is now.
In fact, Gail says that's how far they dug about a year ago while building a ramp when they found this horseshoe.
You can just feel it. You can just feel the history. You know, we're famous for thinking that we have ghosts in here.
This is the one that back in the very back of that is where we found the cigarette wrappers and everything for the ghosts that we have in here.
And there's a lot of stuff going on in that building,
including constant reconstruction on this, the main stage, or to the dinner stage. There's also new construction often inside and all around this historic building.
It's a pretty good building. We're not really worried about anything falling apart. Yes, there's a few bricks falling out, but I'm telling you, there's places where you can see exactly how thick those walls are. And so they're triple brick thick so that it keeps it inside.
And besides all that brick, cork that actually covered the brick was a huge part of the insulation here. The floor actually sits about 15 feet higher than the original floor, and you can just imagine a huge crane moving huge blocks of ice in here. About what would have been about 75 feet up, the original pulley system is still there. You can imagine that pulley moving the ice inside this building wherever it needed to be stored.
They had a crane up in top, and they lifted a metal canister off of the ice after it froze. It worked that. That ice block probably maybe 600 pounds, and they could chip it up into smaller pieces.
And then they deliver the ice by horse and wagon from house to house.
The ice companies gave you a card and had 25, 50 on it, 75, and 100. You put it in the window and turn it up to what you wanted. If it's 50 pounds, they'd bring you 50 pounds. If it was 25, they'd bring you 25. The wagons all had nice horses with them, and they had long reins to an ice wagon. They could drive it from the back. But lots of times, some of them weren't too friendly. They would pop us with a reins to get us off the ice wagon.
They were what?
Pop us with a reins. It's long, they could pop them. We'd be ducking some of those icemen.
Oh, I'll bet.
Fond memories for sure. For those like Jim who remember those good old days, a fascinating piece of Wichita Falls history for the rest of us. Darryl Franklin, KFDX 3 News.